Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. So I've taken a little hiatus and I've been, I just want to get back into it, make a little bit of content for you guys. I have a couple things I need to review, so before I do that, I wanted to get that to you guys. I took a break because I wanted to kind of settle down from all the gear stuff, and I haven't purchased a new camera, I don't know, maybe it's like a month or something like that. So I need to kind of get you guys up to speed to what I have. Unfortunately, I'm recording you on one of the cameras now, but you guys know I have the X106. I think I had that before I took my little break. I still have it, so I haven't got rid of it. I'm keeping it. I like it. And what I'm recording you on right now is the Fuji X-E5. I bought it shortly after I got this, and I was going to kind of just keep one or the other, but I ended up deciding to keep both because they're very similar, and I like that about them, but they're different to the point where you can put different interchangeable lenses on the X-E5 and still have a similar aesthetic, size, feel, and it has the flip-up screen so I can record myself, and I can put different lenses, I already said that, on it. You know, this just offers a bit enough different stuff that, you know, I want to keep it. The OVF, the ND filters, built-in flash, that kind of stuff. So that's what I have. But the reason why I'm making this video is to, yes, come back, but also tell you guys I'm a little bit, I'll say, nervous that this is what I have for what I'm about to do. I got asked about 2-3 weeks ago as a last-minute thing to shoot a wedding. Now, this isn't like a big wedding. This is someone's second marriage, and so they're doing a much smaller wedding ceremony and venue. And so, you know, it's just gonna be like the actual ceremony itself. It's not a big to-do, but still they want to capture really, really good moments. And why I'm nervous is because the gear that I have, although capable, is maybe not the best setup. And here's why I'm saying that. For a couple reasons. One, both this X100 Mark VI and this X-E5 use the old NP1W, what is it, NP126W, NP1W126S batteries. Now on the X100 Mark VI, it's not great battery life, but it's okay. For some reason on the X-E5, it's even worse. So I'm a little concerned about the battery life. So I bought a couple extra additional third-party batteries, these K&F Concept batteries. They're okay. So I bought those, but I was a little worried about that. Number two is both of these cameras, the X106 and the X-E5, are both, unfortunately, single card slot type cameras. And so you don't have the redundancy there. Now, I've only had a card fail on me a couple times, and they both, well, 3 times, and twice they were in a Fuji, and once was in a Lumix. It's something to do with the camera, it corrupted it. That said, I've put both these cameras into like raw, uncompressed, high frame rate, and just hammered the shutter and ran files through them to see if the cards would fail or whatever, and they haven't on these two cameras. So maybe that was a prior Fuji camera problem. It was an X-T5, I think I had the issue on, and I don't know the other camera. So that was my other issue, is the card redundancy problem. But the third thing does relate to the cards and the buffer, is that the buffer's not super deep on these cameras. They're not bad, but if there's a moment going on and you want to hammer a bunch of shots, you know, and just keep going at it, you hit the buffer limit fairly quick when you're shooting raw photos to these cards. And so I feel like that was my third concern. And then the fourth concern, you might think, well, it's weather sealing. It's not. I don't really care about that so much, especially we'll be indoors in a ceremony. The fourth is autofocus. And it's just like, Sony and Nikon and Canon are to the point now where it's like kind of dummy proof on their autofocus, just with a little bit of knowledge. Fuji still very much requires you to be, to know what you're doing and understand the camera really well. And even then, like, you get false confirmations to the background or something sometimes. So I'm really nervous about missing one of those moments with autofocus. And so what I've kind of like relegated it to is that for scenes that are more static, where maybe they're up at the front of the altar and there's not a ton of like movement happening, I'm just gonna shoot in single autofocus, put this thing down in S and shoot it down there. But I'm gonna continue autofocus. I'm going to use the smaller zone, right? So basically in the Fuji cameras, like that says like only focus on the zone, and then I'll use eye and face detect, because the eye and face detect will only work in that zone. I'm not going to use wide tracking. I'm not going to use like the single point, because then you have to move your joystick around and stuff. I don't want to do a bunch of that, but I'm going to use that zone. And so I'm going to quickly try to switch between those two, which is my like fifth problem, I guess, sort of, is that when I'm shooting in single autofocus, what I want to do is have like the small, tiny little square so I can be very pinpoint accurate and like focus recomposed, the old school like DSLR days. Then when I'm in continuous, I want to do the zone, right? Well, you can't just like quickly go from one to the other. If you're using zone on continuous autofocus, right, and you want to go to the single point, you have to go back in and like change your autofocus mode, which I've assigned to a Q menu bank. But so I guess it's not super slow, but still it's a Q menu, a scroll, and then you're back in it. I wish I could just go from continuous and then down into single, and it would know like what my last autofocus setting was on single and what my last autofocus setting was on continuous. It's not the way it really works in Fuji's. And thinking through it, maybe I'll abandon the whole like single auto point focus thing and just stay with like AFS in a zone and AFC in a zone, because that's probably the simplest way to do it. But that's what I was thinking. So I got to shoot this wedding tomorrow. I'm going to shoot it on an XE5. I have the 16 f2.8 little Fujicron. Good enough lens for like wide shots, because wide typically aren't super shallow depth of field anyways. I've got this 50 f2. Again, is this the best portrait lens for this? Probably not. Like the 56 1.2 might be better, or even some third-party options. But I like the feel of this. It is a sharp lens, and so I'm going to shoot the 50 f2, and that's going to live primarily the entire time on the XE5. The 16 2.8 is probably just going to get used sparingly if I need it. And then I'm going to use this X100 on my other shoulder, so I'm going to essentially have a 35 equivalent and 75 equivalent setup, and this I'm going to shoot the wedding with. And to complement that, I do have wireless flash triggers, or a wireless flash trigger right here that I'm going to put on top of the camera, and then I've got two flashes that I'll set up on stands if I need to, and they're both paired to this wireless flash trigger. But I'm trying to avoid buying, like I've been good for a month. I got away from the YouTube stuff a little bit, gave myself a break. That seemed to help. I've been very busy doing a bunch of other stuff I'll talk about in a second. And then like one of the big flare-ups is always a vacation trip, which is what these cameras really are for. I'm shooting more personally for myself anyways, and paid jobs. And this is a paid job. And it's like, I should go buy maybe like a XH2 and put the Sigma 17 to 40 on there, and that'd be great for all, because it's got redundancy and a bigger battery and better EVF and weather sealing. And I'm trying to avoid doing it, and I'm going to try to shoot it on these two cameras, and I'm really curious how it's going to go. I'm trying to find a way, because I just found this in the back of my closet, to explore, bring you guys along with me. This is the original DJI Osmo Action, the first like GoPro competitor they made. I'd love to mount this to like the bottom of a camera, or somehow like, I don't know, on my head, which looks really silly, and record it. I don't know if I can do that or not. We'll figure that out. But certainly I'll come back to you guys and report how this whole thing went, because I'm concerned that I'll screw something up. And the reality is both these cameras are plenty capable. It comes down to the person shooting at the end of the day. It comes down to your skill and your know-how. And really I've got to probably focus more on like posing them and that kind of stuff. Which, by the way, I kind of was upfront with them. I said, hey, I don't really love a ton of posing. I more of like a documentary style, if that's the thing. Kind of like Kevin Mullins. He's a Fuji shooter that shoots documentary weddings. I really like that style, and I think that that's kind of what I'm going for here. But nonetheless, that's where I've been. That's what's been going on. That's what I'm nervous for. Do you guys think the kit I have is sufficient? I think it is. Probably not ideal, but sufficient. And just to guys let you know, I've been real busy with my kids' hockey team, been busy at work. I hit my annual quota for the year, so it's great. So I'm just trying to like get more things going for the fourth quarter. I'm in sales, tech sales, if anybody didn't know. And I got my reffing license as well. So I'm trying to get started being an official ref for hockey, as if I have enough time for that. Between playing 3 nights a week myself, coaching my kid, which I'm on the ice 5 days a week for him, and now I'm going to potentially ref. So that's where I've been. That's why I've been busy. That's where I went. But I do have a couple products to talk to you guys about. A little bit of shill too as well, because there are products I get that I'm genuinely interested in, and I want to share them with you. And so I've got something coming up as well for that. So you'll hear back from me on the wedding. I'll report back my findings on this whole setup, how it worked, what didn't, and I'll see you guys in future videos. I'm back. I just wanted to get back on YouTube. I'll see you in the next one.